Continuing our series on how to create a newsletter, and today I'm going to share with you my 5 tips for what to put in a newsletter. So stick around. Hey Write Writers, Keith Wheeler here, and if you want to continue to get all the hints, tips, and tricks on how to make self-publishing easier, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the little bell icon so you get alerted every time I put out a new video. Now last week we talked about what is a good reader magnet, and if you missed that out, I'll include a link to it down in the comments. But today I wanted to jump right in with what a lot of people are using as their reason not to create a newsletter, and that is they don't know how to create one. They don't know what to put in a newsletter. So I'm going to share with you my 5 top things for what to include in a newsletter. And if you wait around to the end, I'm actually going to share with you 2 bonus tips which are extremely important. So number 1 is your header. This is one of the most important elements, and it's probably one of the most overlooked. Think about it. When someone clicks on your newsletter, this is the first thing that they're going to see. If it's plain or not appealing, then they probably won't look any further. So you want to make sure that you start off with making a great impression. Now, what do you use for a header? You want to use something that ties into your brand. For example, for my YouTube channel newsletter, my header is the channel banner that I use for this channel. I'll pop it up on screen right here. Again, consistency, tying everything all together. It lets people know that they're in the right spot. And if they're already a fan of yours, they'll immediately feel more comfortable. And that's what you want when you want someone reading a newsletter. You want them to be comfortable. Sit down with a cup of coffee and read your newsletter. Number 2 are your fonts. Now I know that depending on what kind of book you write, your fonts may be different. But you want to make sure that you try not to go overboard when it comes to fonts in your newsletter. Simple is usually better. Try to stick with standard, easy to read fonts. Also, it's best to stick with 1, at most 2 different fonts within your newsletter itself. If you try using too many fonts, you may think that that makes you seem more elegant, but instead what it ends up doing is it makes your newsletter look disorganized and overall less professional. Even though you do want your newsletter to look personal, you still want it to look professionally done. Number 3 is going to be your headings or sections. Your newsletter should have at least a few different pieces of content or sections. By separating these elements, it helps give uniformity to your newsletter and give your subscribers a familiarity and a continuity that they can come to rely on within your newsletter. For example, you may start off by talking about the past week. Then you may move on to plans for upcoming weeks, upcoming books, or whatever. There should be a clear transition between these sections. Now, while some newsletters simply create a new paragraph for each new topic, I've found that having clear sections makes it easier for the reader to differentiate, as well as gives them natural breaks within the newsletter. It makes the newsletter less daunting to read. They can read a section, take a sip of coffee or whatever, and then read the next one. This way, again, they don't feel too overwhelmed. Because if they feel overwhelmed, they're most likely just going to close your newsletter. Number 4, images and videos. No one likes to read a wall of text. So break things up by adding in videos and images that your audience would be interested in. Depending on your audience, this could be a picture of your writing space, a potential cover design, an image of your inspirational wall, whatever you think they'll be interested in. I mean, after all, who knows your audience better than you? Again, it's something to break up that wall of text and add some color and variety to your newsletter. And to be honest, it actually makes it a little bit more fun to write the newsletter as well when you're adding in images and videos that you enjoy. Number 5 is going to be your call to action. Just like your books, your newsletter should have some form of call to action. It can be as simple as check out the pre-order to your next book, visit your website, ask a question, and then have a link where they can email you back their response. Something that requires them to take action. This step should not be overlooked or underestimated. Why is it so important? Well, while it's great to have subscribers read your newsletters, it's the ones that take action that can become your super fans. These are the people who took an extra step. They clicked an extra link, they sent an email, they went to your website, whatever you asked them to do in your call to action. Now, virtually every email marketing platform has some way of tracking both your newsletter reads as well as your clicks. Once you know this, you can use this information to really amp up your email marketing game, but I'll save that for another video. Now it's time for the bonus tips. So I have a couple quick bonus tips for you. First off, the frequency of your newsletter is extremely important. How often are you going to send out your newsletters? Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly? While I do suggest doing it at least monthly, the frequency is less important than making sure that you make it clear to your subscribers what that frequency will be, so they know what to come to expect. Nothing can kill a newsletter subscription faster than telling them they'll be getting weekly newsletters and then you start sending out newsletters every couple days. Again, it's about knowing that they can rely on you. Not only can you lose them as a subscriber, but you could actually lose them as a reader too. So again, you want to make sure that you set your expectations accordingly. My other bonus tip, which is very related to this, is be consistent. While you can play around with your days and try to test out launch times occasionally, it's better to be as consistent as possible. Again, it lets your subscribers know that they can rely on you. Also, be consistent with your newsletter format. Once you've created your newsletter the way you want it, using the tips that I gave earlier, and you're comfortable with the way it looks and feels, consider making a template. This will not only help keep your newsletter cohesive, but it'll also make creating them quicker and easier for you to do, which will increase your chances of sticking with it. Because I'll be honest, it's hard. It's hard to stick with sending newsletters, especially when you first start out and you don't really have a lot of subscribers. It's really easy to just say, forget about it. But even if you have one subscriber, that's one person who took the step of giving you their email because they want to learn more. They want to stay in contact with you. So don't let even that one person get away. Now I know I covered quite a bit, but the learning doesn't have to stop there. How would you like to learn how to write novels or plays, short stories, or even children's books? But learn them from the pros. People like Judy Blume, R.L. Stine, or even James Patterson. Click on this video right here and I'll give you my honest opinion on if Masterclass is really worth the money. So head on over and I'll meet you in that video. Don't forget to write right. Go on, I'll wait. Why are you still here? Click on it.